It looks good. The final touch up. It's gonna live on the internet.
And we'll follow. Susan can get about following you if you so
Okay.
don't feel like you almost don't. Okay. Are we on? Welcome back for our January program. And I know Dr. Skidmore mentioned how dreary January can be, but we're going to brighten it up with talking about all of our fine arts here in the district. And doing our presentation today are people who know more about the fine arts in our district than any of the rest of us. We have with us, we've got Maureen Minnick, who's our Director of Fine Arts, and Leanne Slater from NVAA, which is a premier program in our district that we would really like to let everyone know about. And we encourage our representatives to bring this information back to each and every one of your PTOs for your meetings in the upcoming weeks. So thank you, ladies, for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. We're just going to give a little introduction of who we are and a little bit of our background before we kind of get into the meat of everything. But am I in a good spot? Should I? Maureen Minnick, this is my 14th year in the district. I have a bachelor's degree in vocal performance. I was a Horizon grad, went through the choir program and the Broadway and the Stars program there. Did not expect to be back in arts once I got my degree. I went back to school to become an English teacher, was in the classroom for 7 years at Mountain Trail, then just got the admin bug. Spent a year at Pinnacle as a dean of students, spent 4 years at PV High School overseeing curriculum, enrollment, and counseling, and was really happy to kind of bring a full circle experience back to PVSchools and service the students as the fine arts director. So that brings us up to speed for me. If Ms. Slater wants to.
I'm Leanne Slater. I am actually the quintessential arts kid. I'm also the dance teacher for NVAA. I started dancing at the wee age of 3 and attended an arts magnet school in high school, thanks to my mom's persistence. I went on to get a BFA and an MFA in dance. I performed and created professionally in New York City for many years and came back to Arizona to pursue education. I was an adjunct professor at ASU, GCU, and the Maricopa Community College District for about 8 years and decided I wanted to settle into one place, one position. And that's how I found NVAA. I've been in the district for 5 years, teaching and growing my dance program. And this is my first year as NVAA coordinator.
Great. I'm going to advance our slide to the next one here. So this is a little background. Oh, that would be great. Thank you. On kind of what's offered in our schools. And differentiated by the elementary and the secondary, because I know there was kind of a broad range of questions. So just wanting to kind of hit on both. But visual arts starts in kindergarten. It's part of the specials rotation. And then as students get into elementary and middle school, I put a little comment here that student requests, and this might come up again a little later in the presentation, but student requests is what drive the schedule at the middle school and the high school level. So when students are registering for classes the following year, they get a list of all the available electives. And if you've got a school of 500 kids and 250 of them want to be in band, what a nice problem to have. We'd have a lot of band teachers. But in any case, that's how things, that sort of the trajectory works for visual art. And it ends in the 12th grade level, you can end with an AP, 2D and 3D art as well. The next slide is our performing arts. So in the elementary level, we do have in the specials rotation music. We have a specialty program, Suzuki Strings, which is specifically at Desert Shadows Elementary School. And those students are playing strings starting from kindergarten, so pretty young. In general, though, our band, strings, and choir is offered. Choir is an extracurricular, band and strings is what we call a pull-out. So what that means is students can opt in, and depending on the schedule rotation at that school, maybe they're on a 3-day special rotation, a 4-day special rotation, a week-long special rotation. They're opting to pull out of whatever special that is for the day to go to their band or their strings class. So these are not necessarily built into the master schedule, but they are offered at the elementary level at almost all of our campuses. Pre-COVID, this was 100%, but after COVID, we saw some differentiation here for a lot of reasons, but most of our schools have at least band or strings, and almost all of them have choir. When you get to the secondary level, again, this becomes where students are starting to find where their interests are, and this is treated as an elective. So on some campuses, we have drama, not all campuses. So that's a combination of your enrollment, your staffing, your student requests, your teacher certificate availability, et cetera. So, but I would say pretty much all of these are at all of our middle schools, but we do have a little variation in the dance and the drama. And then in high school, we have concert and marching bands, we have orchestra, we have show and concert choirs. Again, that depends a little bit on the program. For example, PV High School has a concert choir, they don't have a show choir. Guitar, piano, music theory, these are options at some campuses. Music theory right now is PV Online for any student. There's an AP course here. And then dance and theater. Dance is at five of our high schools, but 4 of them are through fine arts. 1 of them is through PE, and theater at all 5 campuses as well. Before we go any further with that, maybe this is just a time to ask a question about programming. Yes. Great question. Most of these are electives, but there are what's considered either co-curricular or extracurricular components. So for example, marching band, they have requirements maybe before school or competitions on the weekend. Those are considered co-curricular activities. So they have to be in the class in order to participate in those outside of class experiences. But for theater, many of our high schools run a theater class and also a show, and that's can be open to students that are not in theater. So we do see participation in theater outside of the students that are taking theater. Sometimes that has to do with scheduling conflicts. And so that's a way to kind of keep them within the program. Those are the only 2 I can think of that offer kind of that extracurricular component, if that makes sense. Everything else up here, they're all courses for a grade. So for graduation requirement. Now, and I don't have a slide about that, but 1 fine art is required for graduation. And I actually think it might be 1 fine art or CTE. And I meet quarterly with all the other fine arts directors and coordinators in the Valley. And that's one of our sort of points of advocacy is, can we start working toward 1 fine art for every student instead of an either or situation? But that's for another day. Anything else about our programming? Yes.
I know at least at my kids' high school, dance is a club, and so it's not a sport.
So they can run a club. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to go ahead and type in. Yeah.
So there is a dance team, which is a club, but Anna Crowell is the dance director at PD, and she runs a class. And the class performs twice a year for their dance concert. So there are actually North Canyon also has a dance team as well. And those particular instances, those students are performing at games typically. So they take the class and they're in the they could do, but they're 2 separate things. So primarily our dance programs are dance concert production versus entertainment. Although they are entertaining, if that makes sense. But something you might see at like Scottsdale Arts if you're going to a dance concert.
Thank you.
Yes.
The fine arts classes are all of them given honor grade point ranking in his school.
So I have a whole slide about that at the end, if you don't mind sticking with me, and then I'll have my specific points for you. But great question. It's come up a couple of times this year, and we have some things to add. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, what about the art seal? So this is in its 5th year. This is initiated by the Arizona Department of Education, as well, of course, that's from advocacy from the arts community, the arts teachers, that arts for art's sake, of course, is what we're all about in education. But we feel, I guess, as an educated community that we want arts to have a similar kind of weight as any other class that students are taking. And the reason why I talk about weight is because schools are all, we all have a letter grade formula. And prior to this, actually, it's very recent that the art seal and there are 4 diploma seals are now part of the letter grade formula. And that to me is an important piece because that's a message that the state is sending us that arts education is valued. It's important that we're encouraging and we're recognizing students that are arts kids. Before, just to speak very generally, AP kids, right? The more AP classes you have, the more points you have with that. So what's nice is that this was truly a kind of a recognition of what arts programming does for our students and the incredible work that they go through for 4 years. So this verbiage here is taken straight from the Arizona Department of Education. These are kind of the values behind the art seal. We're celebrating students through their personal and creative experiences in our education programs. Pathways, this is a big conversation, has been for years, of course, but when we talk about strengthening our pathways, that's me talking about what does our K-12 pipeline look like? How do we strengthen our high school programs to make sure that students have access and that we're minimizing the scheduling conflicts so all students have this opportunity. This is also, talking to the middle school counselors. How are they exposing the middle school kids to what the opportunities are when they get to 9th grade? Preparing students for college and career readiness. I'm not sure how familiar you are with this terminology, but this is everywhere in the education world, especially secondary. The CCRI points is when I'm talking about college and career readiness. And then promoting, of course, what we all want for our kids, right? That they are doing what they love, that we offer things for everybody, and that we have well-rounded citizens as they leave our what's the word I'm looking for?
Our care.
Our care. Yes. This is linked to our district webpage. Marketing created a district web page this year for all 4 of the seals. Off the top of my head, I always forget one of them, but we've got biliteracy, which is very popular at Pinnacle and PV High School, but it's offered at all 5 high schools. Students are proficient, show proficiency through a second language. Finance, personal finance, something about government that I can't remember off the top of my head, and the arts. So there's 4 opportunities there. It is possible for students to earn more than 1 seal. Thanks. The requirements for the seal here, and on the side table here, we brought brochures, little flyers, if you will, if you want to grab any of these for you or anyone on your campuses. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. So this information is found inside here as well. But these are the requirements of the seal. So students need to have a 3 or 4.0 in qualifying arts or CTE courses. Now, there's a whole list of what CTE courses are options. And then it gets into how many of each. So they need 4 credits of the qualifying courses, either 4 in one of these disciplines, or they can have 3 in a discipline plus another discipline or a CTE, or 2 in one discipline and 2 in a CTE. So I can qualify for the seal if I have 4 years of dance and I have an A and B in those classes for 4 years, or I have 3 years of dance and a year of culinary, or I have 2 years of dance and 2 years of choir, or 2 years of dance and 2 years in, culinary was a bad example. I don't know why I just said that because that's not part of the seal. That's a really bad example. Graphic design, for example, is one of the qualifying courses. And then number 3 is the 80 hours of extracurricular activities. And these are meant to be, this is the part where the student is doing things on their own outside of the school day. So there might be opportunities offered within the campus to earn these hours, and there might not. Now, theater kids who are staying after, you have a theater kid, you know what Tech Week looks like. They probably earn 80 hours in 1 week of a show. So we typically have quite a lot of theater students because they're it's an extracurricular for them and they're earning their hours this way. And lastly, a capstone project. I kind of equate this to when I got my, your bachelor's degree, in an arts discipline. It's very common that you're putting together a recital or some kind of a showcase of your work over the course of your years. And that's exactly what we're asking seniors to do, is have a showcase of their work in a public setting of their own creative work. Yes.
Is the extracurricular activities, tied to the specific art discipline the child is in?
Yes, I would say 99% of the time, that's what we're seeing because of the natural alignment. But if there are situations in which somebody was doing something for an arts fair, but they were getting a, you know, I don't know, a music one, like there's some flexibility there if I work with teachers on that. So I would say in general, that's just what happens because most of the kids, they're throwing their life, they're really diving into their passion. So we see that crossover. This isn't really very, very specific though. It gives a lot of examples within the state language, but it doesn't say like, well, if you did 2 hours here and it's not exactly related to music, it just says your fine arts, and it's meant to be all culminating around your talent, if you will. Yeah. Yes.
That's really good question, but is
Yeah.
it more credits?
Yeah.
That full years or that semester?
So it depends. At PV High School, 1 full credit is a semester class because they're on a block. So really when we talk about credits, we're talking generally on 4 of the 5 of our high schools, we're talking about fall semester, which is a 0.5, and spring semester, which is a 0.5, which brings you to a 1.0 credit. So generally that's, you know, drama 1 in the fall, drama 2 in the spring. At PV High School, it's drama 1, 2 in the fall. They can take drama 3, 4 in the spring, and they have 2 credits by the end of their sophomore year. If that helps a little bit. Yes.
So then with the other high schools, they really need to start thinking about this freshman year.
Yes. Yeah, there are opportunities through summer school to make up for if, you know, freshman year, I didn't know and I was doing something else and now I'm really interested. There are opportunities through PV Online and summer school to try and make that up or, you know, get that in there. But that is why I meet with middle school counselors every year and talk with them about exposing students to the seal, as well as making sure that our freshman fine arts teachers, but if we're just going off of freshman fine arts teachers, we're missing all the freshmen that are not in fine arts, that are not opting into fine arts. Yeah.
I was also thinking about like how they're talking to them at middle school,
Mhm.
because they don't necessarily get the electives they hope to, like if they really want art, but they don't get it.
Yeah.
And are they getting the information even though they're,
Right.
you know, some other.
Yeah, I would say we have a couple of touch points throughout the journey in high school where those conversations should be happening. Our high school counselors have a requirement called an ECAP where they're meeting with students every fall to talk about what are your goals, what are your passions, what do you like, let's look at your schedule. Let's see if that matches up. That happens every single year. In addition to, they meet with all their caseload again in the spring to go through registration. So the ideal would be that the middle school counselor is giving that messaging as the 8th graders are signing up for classes in 9th grade. And then the 9th grade counselor is meeting with them in the fall to talk about goals, to see what they need to do with the schedule. Then they're meeting with them in the spring to make sure their registration for sophomore year is set up. So that's, I guess the complete picture, the wraparound, if you will, of how we try to have multiple points of contact with students about the seal. But for sure, I think this is a message every year, because how do we keep getting the word out for more and more kids?
Well, it's good that you're here. So
And I'm here, exactly.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, thank you, absolutely. Maybe the next slide. Okay, yeah, just a little bit of data that to just put into perspective kind of where we are with art seals. Last year was our pilot year with the state regarding letter grade. So this year, for sure, all of our seals will be calculated as part of our letter grade. So I've been in touch with, of course, our assessment department. And then this is just a personal passion project for me. Having been a choir kid who did all of those things and would have really thrived and really appreciated the seal on my diploma. I just want to make sure that I'm passing that on to our students that are behind me, that this is something that I really feel they deserve. And so what we are seeing, an increase in seals. I'm expecting an increase in that again, but, you know, sometimes this comes down to, messaging. Sometimes it comes down to, the commitment on behalf of the teacher to try and eliminate some of the barriers. I mean, we have students that struggle to get the 80 extracurricular hours. We have students that might struggle to have a capstone project. And so that's a culture that we're trying to build more and more within our classes. But just this perspective I've been giving kind of every time I'm able to talk about the seal with a different stakeholder group, I bring this up just so, you know, as I'm talking to assistant principals and counselors, and I'll be with principals in February, that they can kind of take a look at this and see some trends. And have those conversations on a one-on-one basis if they want later. And you will see Shadow Mountain, little shout out to Shadow Mountain. And I won't steal your thunder because I think you're coming up next. So, but there is a reason why this is higher, and we would expect it to be higher, as Shadow Mountain has our North Valley Arts Academies program. So that's a good indication that we've got some good art stuff going on there. Any other questions? I think that's my last seal slide. Any other questions about the art seal?
Sort of, and I
Sure.
totally get if you don't know the answer. How does the art seals compare to the other seals? Do you get more than the others? or
I
is it-
don't know the answer to that, but that's great for me to look into. I can tell you for sure, the seal of the finance seal and the civic seal are lower than the art seal. But I have a feeling the biliteracy is higher than this. And that, well, there's a lot that has to do with that, but for sure, our kids that complete all 4 foreign language, or world language at high school, and we have a huge pipeline of kids that went through Sandpiper that are now graduating with all those years, and so that's growing as well. So I would say we're probably second of the 4 off the top of my head.
Yes.
It makes sense to me, like in the performing arts, how you would get to those 80 hours.
Yeah.
But can you just give an example for visual arts, where those hours could be accumulated?
Yeah, so our visual arts teachers that are having some success, they have an art club. Many of them run a club where students are participating in that, and also maybe doing things in the community. Like if they're entering any kind of like local art show or art competition, they can count those hours that they worked on their work. That's the most typical thing I see. They can also you know, go to an elementary and help like push into an elementary teacher's classroom. Now, this is something that's built into the culture at NVAA. Would be harder to do without some stronger relationships among the high school and the elementary school. But that's another thing, is they can help out other teachers in the classroom and teach a project maybe for the day. That's typically what we're seeing. There's mural projects that actually been really popular in the last few years. We had some high school students that went to Cactus View Elementary School and did a huge mural. So all those hours counted, and the mural itself, they had a public showing of. That happened as well at Aioli Burger. So that's kind of kicking on as well, kicking up, I guess, if you will, like that, the word's out on that too.
I got this one for the Super Bowl downtown. She worked on a mural down there.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes internships or taking on a mentorship position with artists as well. Sometimes our artists do that.
And we're seeing success with our visual arts students doing a showcase of their work when the teacher has a special night for all the capstone kids to show at one time. That's been really successful at Pinnacle High School and at Shadow. And so we're also trying to replicate some of those best practices so we can get as many kids as we can. But the visual art for sure is one of those areas where you have to be a little creative.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah.
So, sorry, one more question.
Yeah.
So for those showcases,
Mhm.
and I'm sure this is, and I just haven't seen it.
Yes.
Is the rest of the public and the middle schools and the elementary schools invited to come see?
I would say, and a lot at the Pinnacle, I don't think they're inviting like middle school students. Now, it's open to the public. Any of our arts things after school are almost always open to the public, but they're probably pushing that more towards their own Pinnacle community to come and to their showcase, but certainly something to think about. Another thing I've floated, but we're not quite ready to implement yet, is at Sights and Sounds, perhaps having a special room just for visual arts showcase students as well. Yes.
I noticed, we have that slide for the performing arts and the specific things. Are there programs at specific high schools that are geared towards the visual arts?
Every single high school has a visual art program, so I will say that. I'm almost positive every single high school offers AP art. But certainly some high schools offer more of those courses than others because the course requests are really high. But Pinnacle High School has a huge enrollment anyways, and their visual art program is massive. So students are opting into that program probably at a higher rate than other campuses, and that's a lot of factors that play into that. But also NVAA, of course, has their specialty visual arts, which as well. So those two come to mind just because their programs are so big and specialized. That helps. But there's a 2D artist and a 3D artist at every campus. So they have an option to do ceramics or painting and drawing. Yeah. Okay, I think we're ready for you to switch it up. Yes.
Okay, all right. So again, I'm Leanne Slater. I am the NVAA dance teacher at Shadow, and I'm in my first year as NVAA Coordinator. I came to this love for marketing and coordinating. I actually have a small nonprofit theater company that I run in the Valley as well, and have turned into a businesswoman as well in some ways. And I've been really able to take my love for art and design and create some more compelling material to be more visible to our community. So I'm just honored to be here and to have some more exposure, and love talking about NVAA. So we are an advanced accelerated arts program offered only at Desert Cove, Shea, and Shadow Mountain. In grades K through 3, we offer first our visual arts, our NVAA visual arts track. Then the students are exposed through their specials rotation to theater, dance, and music technology. And currently, and we are growing, so things might start to change in the years to come. Our 4th grade students take theater, our 5th grade students take dance, and our 6th grade students take music technology, but they also have visual art the whole time. Grades 9 through 12, we offer 5 disciplines: visual arts, theater performance, technical theater, if you have a techie kid. A techie kid is a kid that's doing lights, sound, set design, costume design, dance, and music technology. Yeah, that's great. I think some of the key features, and one thing that I was blown away when I first started with my colleagues, we are all also working professionals. We are creating in our community. We have vast experience with teaching. We have our own artistic practice, and the teaching comes easy when the teachers are so integrated in what they love. And so that's always a compelling thing. I love hearing about what our teachers are doing. In fact, our theater teacher, Joe Flowers, you might have seen him on the Window World commercial if you watch cable TV. And he's also a working commercial actor. He recently got a contract with a new insurance company for student athletes. It's called PAMI. So all I had to do was say PAMI, and now I see Joe Flowers on Facebook, which is crazy. I was take a screenshot. There you are. Oh, I love you. It's amazing. Also, our fine arts teacher, Jenny Jardine, just installed visual arts, just installed and uninstalled recently at Gamage. So she had her body of work up at Gamage, which was also a compelling and amazing thing. So. Maureen was mentioning the honors, the Arizona State Seal of Arts Proficiency. NVAA has a specific senior class called Exit Portfolio, which automatically guides the student through getting the art seal. That's part of the reason why our art seal number is so high, because we have this specialized senior class. It's called Exit Portfolio. The students are creating their own bodies of work. They're developing artist statements. They're presenting their public capstone. They are making websites, reels, doing a lot of arts advocacy and sort of summarizing their time through NVAA. Additional to that, and the diploma gets very crowded for NVAA students, we also have an NVAA Honors seal. So there are 2 seals that appear on the student's diploma when they finish up with NVAA.
And I'll just interject, the only other seal, that's a district seal would be the crest seal. So crest and NVAA have, the option of a district seal on the diploma.
Many of our students enrolled in NVAA are also in our DAPS program, which is a block humanities program. Kevin Story and I just did some math. 60% of DAPS students are also enrolled in NVAA. And it's no surprise to me, NVAA students are some of the most dedicated, smart, forward-thinking individuals on our campus. No surprise there at all. Yes?
About the, so like, what are the class sizes for like, the other program?
Just in general?
Just in general, usually similar, and like 20, 30, like.
So, Desert Cove is potentially, absorbing some, neighbors, depending on what happens with school closure. So they are a smaller enrollment school that will be increasing their enrollment should that take place. So, I can give you a ballpark, but I'm guessing it's about 25, and absorbing more students is gonna bring that higher to the 32 range. But that wouldn't be necessarily based on any numbers that I have run, if that makes sense. That
We're just guesstimating.
It's low 20s, yeah.
Yeah.
And with the potential of realignments of schools, they will also absorb not just new students, but they will take new teachers as well with students. So it's not just, it depends, but it's really hard to predict what the numbers are gonna be, but.
Did that help? Did that answer your question?
Yeah. It's hard to answer right now.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
There's a lot happening in
Kind of
February.
in flux right now.
Did you have a question too?
I'll just make a comment. I'm
Yeah.
at Desert Cove. One of the other really cool things that I've done in the past, I don't know if we're gonna do it again. But like my kiddo was able to in 3rd grade go and be a fairy in the
Yes,
school musical last year.
Yeah, the photo.
And so, they did a little,
Yes.
they did an evening where they had activities for the kids. and
Absolutely. That's
Yes.
That was Tink, an original play
Yeah.
created by our students.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, they practiced with the whole stuff and they had a buddy and it
Yeah.
was a really, really, really cool experience. But
There is so much potential, and honestly, I go to bed at night and I'm like, okay, yeah. This whole thing excites me beyond, and I can see sort of, I've created goals for myself for this year for exposure and providing opportunities to cross-pollinate between schools. And I'll say, there's so much more to come. Like, it's by the time your kiddo is going to be in high school, hopefully they have been over at Shadow a lot more times to perform on the stage. It's very exciting this year, and I'll just say something about the cross-pollination. One of my dance students collaborated with the PE teacher over there and provided a dance unit through the PE class. So the students in 3rd grade who wouldn't normally get dance, got dance from one of my seniors, and that's her capstone. Like, how cool would it be to place all of our shadow students, throughout our elementary and middle school? So that's definitely, and some of the things I think about at night that I'd like to do moving forward. Oh, yes.
Just wondering, could you explain what music technology?
Yes, happily. So if you have any rappers in your family or know students who are interested in rap, we might hear some underlying beats that happen behind that music. Our music technology students can create their own music using a computer. They have drum pads and mixing tools. They actually do have a live drum set as well in their classroom, guitars, and they are plugging all of these instruments and noises that they're creating through very high-end programs, music making programs, to make digital music. Yeah, so a lot of students who like gaming as well are interested in learning more about this skill, because that was something they might want to do in the future.
And there's an ASU program, the pop music, popular music program, which is a couple of years now. They have like really state-of-the-art, beautiful facilities in downtown Phoenix. His program is feeding directly
Yes.
into that program, and they love getting music technology kids from us because our kids are more advanced with the kind of equipment that they're working on at the college level as well, so.
It is a niche, for sure, and NVAA is the only place to offer it. I want to point out that this semester, we have officially launched our dual enrollment program with PVCC and NVAA. Each of our disciplines are now offering at least one course for dual enrollment opportunities. We just put this into place. We announced it in November. We've got about 45 students currently enrolled for the spring semester, with talks about continuing to add more opportunities for our NVAA students to earn college credit. We also have an exclusive partnership with Scottsdale Arts through the Visions Visual Art Program and the Cultural Connections Dance Program. We also always have visiting guest artists and field trips in the works. Currently, we have a resident artist working with our visual arts students. They are creating a tile mural to be permanently installed on Shadow's campus. This is a professional who works out of Phoenix, Therosia Reynolds. And personally, in the fall, I received a grant through the city of Phoenix and invited 6 professional dance artists to come into my classroom and create works for my students as well. The student experience, as I said, I'm so passionate about our students, and I digress for a moment and talk about those 80 hours for the proficiency seal. These kids live, breathe, want arts. It's not hard to get those 80 hours. They will find a way to get those 80 hours. We offer multiple performances each year. We are doing this really exciting thing where the Shea Theater program is producing at Shadow this year in our state-of-the-art theater. And I'm in charge of helping facilitate our feeder school matinee invitations. We have 600 elementary kids coming to see Shea's performance of The Descendants and like 300 on the wait list. I knew it would be amazing, but I didn't realize it would be that amazing. And this is the first of its kind. And I'm thrilled because now these 600 elementary kids are going to know about NVAA. So thrilled about that. And theater and dance also do these types of theater school matinees. I actually had all of Madison #1's dance department at my matinee in the fall. So we're building connection with these other districts that don't offer a secondary option. We have, again, the fully produced concerts, mostly run by students. Capstone presentations, as we mentioned about the seal, they have to be public. These students are creating, publicizing, and that's something the teachers are walking them through. How do I do this? How do I advocate for my work? So these students are creating their public capstones. We have assemblies, traveling shows on campus. Shea is producing this beautiful new arts festival called Shea Shorts. So short, 5-minute plays or dances. We just did a big assembly for our PVCC announcement for dual enrollment. And the PVCC rock band came to Shadow, and our NVAA students sang in the rock band. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Some students really like to double dip. And there are ways to do multiple disciplines for NVAA. One thing that students do is they take PE online in the summer, and that frees up an opportunity for an additional elective. So I have 6 students right now who are seniors who are in theater and dance. And they live, breathe, want the arts. And it's just wonderful. It can be done. And again, also a lot of them couple with DAPs. Our high school students, I mentioned this earlier, are interacting with elementary and middle and through performances, classes, and doing our teaching assistance. Lots and lots of information. Do you have any questions so far?
Yes. Do you have to start at kindergarten or?
You do not. There are multiple entry points. I would say, you know, when you're thinking of the overall scope of, you know, the continuum of the curriculum, starting in 9th grade is great. Starting in 10th grade is also okay. In fact, I have a student who is currently my TA. She was doing ceramics. She was dancing at a studio, but she started NVAA in her junior year, and she's made all this happen. So, yeah, multiple entry points for
I
sure.
would say too, if the student has started in Desert Cove and worked and gone through the process at Shea, they try to differentiate if you've had music technology before. So that's a little bit more of an advanced level. So there's a little, they try hard to make sure that the kids don't feel like I already did this, you know, so that they're working within their schedule and with the teachers to create kind of a more advanced track for those students.
Very late to the class, the high school students who come into the elementary school. And I'll see that.
Please.
The same thing.
Oh,
How did we get them? to
100%, your flyer has everybody's contact information.
It does. And I'm happy to arrange that. Of course, this semester is kind of like everyone's, because we need to wrap up our capstones by around spring break. So things are kind of settled in. It's hard to believe we're on that downward slope for the school year, but I would love to arrange that for sure.
So, okay, let's see what okay.
Also, I made a PDF of this. All the things that are underlined, you can click on. So if you want to scan that with your phone, you can have access to that PDF and share, and also find our interest form, our website, and we also are offering tours of our spaces led by the NVAA teachers.
And representatives, the presentation will be attached to some of our outgoing emails. So if you don't catch it, you can catch it there as well.
So we have some specific, thank you for submitting some questions in advance. So we have a couple of things that we didn't think we were going to hit through the presentation that I wanted to kind of focus on, but how are we doing on time? So I don't want to make sure I'm still okay with time.
6 minutes.
Okay, awesome. So here we are. Yay. Great question. So this has come up a couple of times this year, and we are seeing, I guess, an increased interest in how do I compete at a really high level for universities and scholarships and things like that. There's good and bad to that. You know, NAU has really raised the bar on students that are really chasing that GPA because you can go for free. So that's, we as a system have really shifted to work towards that and provide that opportunity for our students. But a couple of things I just wanted to point out that we do not, fine arts are considered an elective. And so there are almost no elective classes that are given a weighting. There are a couple of exceptions, and I did want to make sure that we knew if you have an elementary kiddo right now, you might not, what do you mean by weighting? What are we talking about? So your grade A, B, C, D, E. Apparently we give E's now. I think we do in elementary school.
We do. I think we do.
So I'm just gonna give the whole alphabet. But an A is typically a 4 point, you get 4 points for that, and that's how the GPA is calculated. So that's how you get your 4.0. But on a weighted scale, your A is a 5. So our AP classes and honors academic classes have that weighting, so it is possible to graduate with a 5.0. And if you are going to Harvard, you probably want to have a 5.0 to remain competitive.
You can't because you have gym.
Yeah.
So a 4.9.
4.99.
There you go. Okay. So you're going up the PE people need to get on the train too. Okay, good to know. Life concepts. Okay, got it. Yeah, so PE falls into that as well for elective. So and I did list a couple of exceptions here, AP courses, world language, and we do have 2 AP courses for fine art. music theory and, studio art, the 2D or 3D studio art. And then Crest at PV High School, have honors weighted electives. I did make sure that I contacted our lead counselors. I don't know if that's something that you've had in the past to present. They're fabulous. And chat with them all the time, like, what are we doing in terms of pathways and GPAs and all of that. So all of our in-state schools only calculate the 16 core. So none of the electives are even part of the GPA. When they are reporting that to the schools or basing that on scholarship. And they are actually only using the unweighted GPA. We use percentile rankings and not numerical rankings. There was, I think that was kind of part of the question as well. So we have 99th percentile. We don't have like first in the class, second in the class. You can have a percentile when you graduate, but they know.
It's so one half dozen the other. You can be ranked fifth.
Yes.
And you're in the 98th percentile.
Yes.
So that's not real, that's a distinction.
And I believe this is on what's on the transcript is the percentile, but in any case, this has brought about some interesting conversation, some good conversation about, if we already have an example here of a specialty program that has electives that are given honors weighting. So this is on my docket through, I am part of the curriculum department, which is under Jean Copen, and these are conversations we're always having. And because, and our lead counselors are under this as well. So I don't get to go say, for example, just so you kind of understand how our processes work. Like, this is what I want to do. So let's get enough people to stamp it and let's move on with it, right? So we do have a committee process. So we do plan to bring this to the committee process next year. A big step in that, and this would have to go to board approval. So that would start with me making a proposal to our counselors and our assistant principals over curriculum. There's a specific group, and that's vetted through them. And then eventually that goes, might make its way to the board. And then we could potentially in the future, this would not happen for 24-25, because potentially the approval would happen in 24-25, and this would be a 25-26. But that has come up, and we're curious about that. So
I'm excited about it.
yeah, really excited. We want, of course, with our presentation here today as well, we want to make sure everyone has access to arts, but we also know that we want to specialize in certain areas for students that are all in, and that's, something special for them. So there are many STEM and STEAM offerings throughout the district, but it is PV High School's CREST program that is the signature program. Just says there are many varied arts programs within our district, but NVAA is our specialty program. So we're working on it.
Example, just at Horizon High School, like my son took the engineering courses there, and those were all weighted, and his technical drawing class was counted as his fine arts credit. So he received a weighted fine arts credit for that. So there are some which is why his GPA was at that level. Having said that, at the awards assembly, the schools recognize the fine arts seal. They come up on stage as well. So
yeah,
there is recognition for.
Yeah, absolutely. At the
fine arts.
high school teachers, a lot of them have banquets or after end of the year award ceremonies, and they're recognizing those students. I've encouraged, I cannot tell principals what to do, but I have encouraged them to also include some kind of symbol on their diploma, on their program, their graduation program. That's pretty common too, as you'll see.
I think Horizon did last year.
Great, yeah. We're seeing more of that, so.
And NVAA has a school for graduation.
And all of our Art Seal students get a pin to kind of symbolize as well. And some of our high schools allow that to be worn on graduation. Some do not, but again, just different options that we try to help those students, honor their work.
And and having said that, I mean, it would be great for kind of the upper level choirs, the upper level orchestras to be recognized and weighted,
Yes.
that they are.
It's a big advocacy piece, and that's what we're here for.
And then the next one Great, so I tried to hint at this kind of as we went along, that why would some programs be on one campus and not on another? And for sure, at the secondary level, these things happen, what we call student-driven scheduling. That it's the choice of the students which determine how many sections we might offer of a particular class. Or how many sections we need of a particular class. So that's kind of what happens at the secondary level. And the verbiage we kind of use is, did the class make? And when you're looking at your course requests, and we're wanting to utilize our staffing responsibly. If we have, 9 students that are signing up for a class that we know we can have up to 39 in, we have to make those decisions, right? As an admin team, that's what they're looking at is, can I fund this for this small section of students when I also have a need for this population of students? And so that's a balancing act that takes place. And at the elementary level, I put, a little less variability. But there is more variability kind of occurring as we're going through some different, what's the word we used earlier? We're in flux. We do have a STEAM elective that is gaining some popularity. And so the principal and the site council are the ones that might look at whether they can continue to offer all 4, whether they have the enrollment to offer all 4. And so those conversations are happening. And so we might see some campuses with a 0.5 art and a 1.0 STEAM, or a 0.5 STEAM and a 1.0 art, because we can't have it all, but we try to. And so there's a little bit of variability happening there right now. And some of that is happening with the, I don't want to say shrinking, but I want to say reorganizing. Maybe that's the best word to use. And then I think there's one more question about vacancies. And this is, I wanted to just highlight and speak in broad strokes about this concern, because it's where my brain lives a lot of the time too. How do we work ourselves out of some of the challenges that we've had? When I say we, I really kind of am speaking collectively as an arts person, as an educator, not necessarily a PVSchools person, because I do meet with fine arts directors in all the city and the valley, and this would be the #1 topic on our agenda every single time. We're always talking about what are we doing, how many vacancies do you have, where are your candidates coming from? So I'm kind of jumping around a little bit with my bullet points because they're all kind of interconnected, but we do have university representatives that come to those meetings. We talk with them about what they're seeing, what we need. In general, if I were to speak really broadly, we are in the middle of a teacher shortage, and that has hit us definitely in Arizona. We're also seeing fewer fine arts candidates at the university, and so our demand of what we need is exceeding what we're getting, which kind of leads back up here to our fine arts teachers it's a very, very specific certificate. And the more specific your certificate is, sometimes the harder that can be to fill. So that has been hitting us. Just in general in our district, and I think this is probably in most districts, after COVID, we saw higher than normal retirement rates. I don't know if I should say higher than normal, but our average number has increased, I would say. So we're needing to fill more spots than we've had to at one time, with a candidate pool that's shrinking, with a niche certificate. So all of those factors together have created kind of a complex situation that we're always looking at what else can we do? One of the things with our band and string schedules, our teachers are at 4 campuses. And one of the things that we do that I would say is a good thing is we have committed to both band and strings. That is not the case at other districts. They're only offering band to try and consolidate resources. So we have kind of kept that commitment that we want to have that. But to do that, then we have teachers that are traveling. And so what we're looking at is how can we create what we're calling less splintering. So I'm not teaching, because this is happening at Sonora and Sky, and I'm also teaching at Boulder Creek. We've got teachers that are driving all over. So we're looking at trying to, and part of that, and I think that's another one of my bullets up here, is consolidation of resources. So by being able to look at regions of our district and how we can create a more region-specific focus for our band and strings teachers, and try and create kind of a cleaner through line of the feeder system, is how we're trying to leverage this in a way that could be positive for what we're experiencing in terms of vacancies. And then just back to the bullet point down here at the bottom, always, you know, following up leads, networking with people. We got a band and strings teacher this year from a Facebook post, which was awesome. He's doing great. There's, and in our community, it's really been our principals that have blasted to the community. We have a need. Is there anybody out there? We've had some success with that as well. Okay. How'd I do? Are we okay on time? Okay. That was a lot at the end there. I guess I want to make sure I got it all out. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. And again, representatives and everybody online, we will have this information available so that you can contact these ladies. And I thought personally, for my schools, the idea of being able to ask that the senior or whoever from your senior students come and do a presentation. I don't know, that sounds pretty awesome. So there's your takeaway for today, reps. If you are here, thank you. And you get the first try at getting that. And we will see you in February. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.